preliminary discussion. What we would like to do is collect our thoughts on paper and submit them to the Standard Times as either a piece for the opinion page, a letter to the editor, or follow up with Mr. Spillane with our further discussion. But there were 3 key points that really stood out to us. The first is, I think, looking at any situation of a firing or any kind of problem on a job, is to think, when did the supervisor clearly know that something was happening? Was the supervisor aware that something was happening that that person wasn't happy about? And from each of the people testifying, it was clear that Mike Fish had spotted the workers leaving the elevator, and that event seemed to be connected to the further developments in the case. And we just want to briefly address issues around gender discrimination and immigrant workers that we heard with this case. But from our preliminary report, after discussing the facts we heard today, it seems that the reinstatement and the back pay would be one course for justice in this case. However, we do want to look at it a little bit further. But from my analysis, it gets back to, was the employer aware that people had spoken with the union and that was the basis for them to be fired? And it seems like not only was the employer aware, but it built up after that, first seeing the workers in terms of the pressure for more production on the job and looking for people to leave, as we had heard. So I think it gets back to that moment of, did the employer know and did things change since then? And that seems to be the case, although we will discuss this further. Cindy, would you like to?
I also felt that there was gender bias, that once the women spoke to the union, not only were they doing their job, but they had moving furniture and other duties that they weren't getting paid for. So that was very clear to us.
Yeah, just finally, what the story brought out to me is that, I would agree with Mr. Snow. It takes a tremendous amount of courage to step forward and to do something about an injustice that's been done to you. And too often, you hear the differences between, American-born workers or immigrant workers, but there's a lot of injustice that goes around to all of us. And in the case where Fernando talked about the immigrant workers who just are so terrified that they, went back into the shadows. I think your speaking up also, highlights the need for both American workers and immigrant workers to stand together against these kind of injustices. So, really appreciate you doing this.
And it is our work as part of People First is talking about justice in the community and how this is our city, and if people are being discriminated against for violating their rights to speak to the union, then that affects all of us as living in New Bedford. And again, we appreciate coming forward to tell your stories. Please look for us. The 3 of us will be writing something to submit to the Standard Times as a more detailed, thoughtful account than we're able to give you right now. But we sure appreciate everyone coming out to listen. And anything else?
Yeah, well, I just also want to thank you for coming out publicly, because if more workers like you don't do that, then the public and the communities will never know what's going on. So thank you very much for doing that.
And I'd like to thank you for listening to us.
Thanks. And we wish you the best of luck.
Yeah.
All right. Thank you very much.